Hello and welcome back. I'm going to level with you today. This is going to be a simpler project, but still important one. The bubble level. And so I'll be starting off on this 12 millimeter heavy wall tubing. I'm heating up the end to flare open with my jacks. This should give me a good base to do the coil pot technique, which will make a small piece of colored tubing. And so this is a greenish blue color called sea slime. I'm just working in a nice base heat here before I start the coiling process. And so I haven't done the coil pot in a while. I normally stick to the solid color blowout. But then I've gotten some comments asking why I don't do this technique. The coil pot might be a little bit quicker, especially dealing with thicker colors and larger vessels. However, you might create some lines in the tubing, especially if it's a reactive color. But overall, I think it's good to have both techniques practiced and under your tool belt, so you'll be more versatile and ready to go in different situations. And so I'm coiling around the sea slime to create this colored tubing, and I'm doing my best to keep that inside cavity open. This will give me a hollow section on the end to blow out a small sphere. These hollow spheres are merely a decorative element, but I'll be leaving one of the spheres open in order to fill the vessel with water. And so I got the idea for this project while I was cleaning out one of the tubes from my last video, which was lamp working outdoors. And I had my fingers over both ends of the tube and kind of swashing the water back and forth to clean it. And that's when I noticed the air bubbles inside and how it was difficult to get them to reconnect. And so I was making it into a little game and seeing how quickly I could join the two bubbles together before they reached the end of the tube. And so I decided this is kind of fun. Why not try closing up the ends and making it into a little project? So I'm pulling out a little glass to close the end of this sea slime tube. This will allow me to puff it out into a nice sphere. I'll start by applying a nice even heat and then give it a moment to radiate and slowly puff in. And now the wall thickness may be a little bit uneven from the gathering process, so I'm going to heat it back down and puff it out another time. Those thicker areas will melt into the thinner areas and vice versa, giving you a nice even wall thickness. And so the glass is probably around 1500 degrees right now, where the flame is more in the 5000 degree range. The reason for this large difference is that the glass and the flame itself are not very thermally conductive, meaning it has trouble transferring heat from one area to another, so it takes a long time. On top of that, the heat that does soak into the glass constantly radiates out and transfers into the surrounding air. This is what they call conduction. And as the surrounding air heats up through conduction, it begins to undergo thermal expansion and becomes less dense, which causes it to rise, which then transfers that heat to another area, which then we call convection. This happens in liquids also, but not solids. They only undergo conduction. And so I've opened up the end of this tubing, and I'll begin to flare it for another coil pot. I'll be using the original green slime color from Troutman Glass on this side. I think it's very reminiscent of Slimer from Ghostbusters. And it's kind of a strange color as it starts off opaque, but as you apply very high heat, it'll turn more transparent. And the transparent green underneath is very vibrant. And so the traditional slime color is a must-have for your shop. However, I'm not as big a fan of the sea slime. It just doesn't seem to have the same pop. Pink slime looks pretty good also. Coincidentally, I used the slime colors in my first coil pot video. I used the coil pot to make a pot. It turned out pretty nice. And so I've got the end closed up now. I'm going to keep melting it down and blowing it out to even out that wall thickness. And so sometimes I do like to cut down the video to speed things up, especially like right here. You might not see me puff it out so many times. But then you don't get the more full experience of what something like that might take. And so here I'm going to puff it out probably 3 to 4 times before it's finished. And I think this one was a little less even than the first one, so it's just taking a little bit longer. But now if you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to hit the like button. You can leave a comment down in the comment section, a suggestion, a comment on this video, or maybe just to say hi. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Next up will be an ink pen with inkwell, a small experiment using the special metal gallium, and then a request for a funnel and ladle. And then I have a couple other projects sitting on the back burner, but other than that, it's going to be a good show. I'm going to puff it out and point it more towards the floor to help gravity pull it out into more of an elongated sphere. I'm trying to have it match the other sphere on the other end of the tube. And so it's looking pretty good. I'm going to throw it in the kiln at 1050 for 30 minutes. And now after I filled it up with water, I decided not to seal the end of it, but leave it open. The hole is small enough that water doesn't actually leak out unless you shake it. The air bubble is less dense than the water surrounding it, and so gravity exerts a little bit less force onto it. As I turn it left and right, the water essentially begins to fall, pushing the bubble upward. If I can level it out, then the bubble will stay stationary. And so I'm going to shake it to make some little bubbles and show you that game I was talking about. And so it seems that the smaller bubbles travel a little bit quicker through the tube. And so I'm just trying to tilt it back and forth to combine all the bubbles. This kind of reminds me of an old video game I was playing when I was little. Bubble Bobble. It was little dinosaurs that would go around capturing things in bubbles. I should put something in the tube and see if I can capture it. But now we've reached the end of episode 91, Bubble Level. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time here on the Matt Jasa channel.